Hey everybody, it's Allie Edwards and I'm back today with another Make a Page with Allie video as part of my series. And what I have today is I have another couple pages from the tag scrapbook kit. As I talked about in my previous video, our tag scrapbook kit came out last year, the end of last year, and I was knee-deep in December daily stuff at that time, so I'm just starting to dive into that particular kit. My hope in these videos is that I'll just be using a variety of different products that we have. Some will be scrapbook kits, some will be probably from our Story Play collection, which you may have heard about by now. There's more information about that on the website. But my plan today is that what I want to do, I printed out a photo. This is a photo that I took recently of Anna and her friend group walking to the pickup spot after school. It's sized outside of the page protector for a 6x8 album, which continues to be the size that I really like to use. I have one page here already set as my base foundation, and then what I'm planning to do here is one of the 12x12 papers in the kit has 3 cards with designs already on them, and then 3 others that are blank where you could add something else. This is a great example and a great example of the fact that you can use these as they are, right? You could use this, you could put photos on top here, you could add a little photo here, you can use this as your base foundation, or you can cut these out. This is a lot of the way that I have approached designing the papers in these kits and in many of our other kits now too, because I really like having the option of cutting them out and or using them as is. And I know many of you still scrapbook in the 12x12 size, so this scrapbook kit obviously has papers that come in that size. So what I'm thinking about doing with this one is I'm going to cut each of these out. I'm also going to cut these out, and then I'm wanting to make some sort of a layered flip up, I think is what I'm going to do here with these, because you can see that they're too big to fit, you know, each one on here, but I'm pretty sure that I could layer them on top of each other and then have the secondary tag here be either underneath it or underneath maybe the flip up, and that's where you would read. I'm not sure about that part yet. I haven't got that far yet, but I'm just gonna take you along with me as I make this page. One thing to note here too, if you are brand new to my channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, I always post these both on YouTube and on my blog. And if you are a person that is mainly just a YouTube, likes to watch on YouTube, I do also always list my supply list. The supply list is included in the comments section here on YouTube, or the description section. I guess it's the description where I actually include the supply list with links if you are interested in more information about any of the things that I'm using in my videos. All right, let's dive into how this one comes together. So the first thing I'm going to do here is simply cut out the tags from that background pattern paper. Again, you can totally use these pattern papers as they are if you like that size, or you can cut down the individual elements to work in a variety of different sizes. It's just a nice way to have some options, I think, in our storytelling adventures. So I'm trimming those all out. I'm going to trim off the extra little edges on the top there, and then I'm going to punch the holes as well. right, so as I was cutting those out, I started thinking, what if I didn't add the tags onto that pattern paper, but what if instead I used one of our page attachers as the base for this page and then had my tags flip up, the number parts flip up and have a little bit of the story on the tags below. And I love this idea, and the rest of this video is going to be kind of the execution of that idea and how it ends up coming together, and then also what I end up doing on the back. So here you can see that I'm taking the two tags that will be paired together and I'm just double or punching a hole that's going to go through both of them. When in the end, my end result project, I didn't need to punch the holes in the second one, so you can keep that in mind if you want to create something like this. For the portion that's underneath the tags, the place where I'm going to actually do my journaling, I'm using a stamp set that we offered, I think last year maybe, with Week in the Life. It has large handwritten phrases on it, and I am using black ink there and just stamping that right on the top of the tags, and that's where my journaling is going to go, right on top of those once I get to that phase of the process. Okay, so where I'm at right now is, you've seen me change my mind a couple times. I am going to create just a page with tags on it. And so I've got the page attacher here. This is going to become the base. I've got my photo over here that's going to be my second page. You saw me stamp the large remember stamps, and then I went ahead and printed out some photos, because what I'm thinking about doing, and I'm gonna have to figure this out as I go along, but something like this, where this will get adhered down onto the base. I'm going to do either washi tape or figure out some other way to do a attach it so that it can just flip up, right? That's my plan with this one, which it could be something that's like adhered onto the back. Not sure yet exactly, but the plan is that these photos can go on the inside so that when you flip them up, you would see the photo. And I just have some other photos of Anna and her friend group from the last month, essentially, so that I can use those to illustrate the story that I'm telling about her getting ready to finish up 8th grade. So I'm just gonna lay this right on top of here before cutting it, so that, because it's gonna go right here, right? It's gonna get adhered in that space, so I want it to be oriented that way. Okay, so I'm getting those guys cut out. I trimmed or cropped my photos to 5 inches by 3 inches, knowing that they were going to be a little bit bigger than the tags. I'm pretty sure that's the size. I would definitely just double check when you are doing that yourself at home. But then obviously I'm cutting them out so that they fit the tag and that they can be the underside portion. So when someone flips up the tag, then what they see is the photo, and then they will see my journaling on the tag that is the remember part. So as I was thinking about attachments, or how to create the flip up, sometimes I've used washi tape. This time I decided to use cardstock. I feel like the last couple times that I've done this kind of thing, I've used cardstock to do that. And what I did is I just measured the width of the tag, like before it goes into the pointed part at the top, or the part that gets cut off at the top, and I cut 3 that are about 1 inch wide that will be folded in half to create the flip up portion of my tag. So I'm folding those in half. I'm going to use a bone folder just to get it really solidly folded in half. And then I'm going to put adhesive on it so that it will attach to the bottom tag and go in between the top tag and the photo that it is already partially adhered to. So there you can see I folded it in half. I'm putting the remember tag on the bottom there using the rolling adhesive. You can also use red line tape, which I think I end up using on this, but I can't remember for sure. I think that I might end up doing red line tape on the part that goes on the top. If you missed it, what I did was I just ran a little bit of the rolling adhesive along the top of the tag and the photo so that those two were stuck together already, but not stuck together on the bottom, which made it really easy then when I placed it around the tag and the photo combo. Then I decided that I still did want to add some washi tape on the top. The main reason why I'm adding washi tape is just to cover up any of the cardstock that you can see along the top there when it's folded over. So this felt like it's a nice way to just add a little bit of decorative something. The washi tape in and of itself isn't the hinge that I'm using in this case. And so then I'm going to repeat those same steps for all 3 of the tags. The photo on the underside of the numbers, and then using the cardstock attacher that's simply just a piece of paper, a piece of cardstock cut and then folded in half. And that's going to get repeated for the rest of the tags. All right, so after I had those tag flip-ups created, I went into my stash and I was looking for something that I could add onto the top of each one of these tags. So I started off with chipboard circles, looked at those for a little bit, kind of decided maybe that would work, going through a variety of them. I have other videos here on YouTube that talk about how I'm organizing my chipboard embellishments now, so you can look for that. I think it was in the one of the Craft the Story videos, I think is what I did last year. So looking at the chipboard pieces, trying to see what could I add on here that would relate to the story I'm telling and or support the story that I'm telling in one way or another. I pulled out some of the puffy embellishments that we offered this last year. I thought those were kind of cute, but still not exactly what I wanted for this particular project. It might work really well for your project if you happen to have those in your stash. What I did end up finding though in my embellishment storage spot here were some puffy circles, and I think what I end up adding on here is 2 puffy circles and then a fabric circle that is a Friday from a past week in the life kit. I was just kind of looking through what did I have. I think these 2 might have been week in the life too, or maybe they were part of a travel collection, something that we've offered in the past. Obviously love those circle shapes, and sorry my hat is getting a little bit in the way there. There's that Friday. So I knew that this story did actually happen on a Friday, and so finding that Friday fabric circle in there was really fun. So I went ahead and adhered those 3 down on there, and you'll be able to see them in a minute. And then what I'm doing next is simply adding in my journaling. I'm using a journaling pen that I don't even know how to pronounce. When my friends gave it to me, it's JIHEKJ, and it's like a gel pen. Just something, mixing it up a little bit. And I'm simply talking about the experience of picking Anna up from school, seeing her walking with her friends. That's how the idea for this page started, right? Is when I took this photo of these kids walking towards my car after pickup time. And I just loved how they were all together in this big pack. And so the other photos that I picked out to go with this story are photos of her and her friend group, or some of the friend group, those sorts of things. So writing the journaling directly on there, knowing that it is going to be adhered to this page attacher, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my number 1 first, lining it up with the top part there. And then I'm going to continue my writing, but I'm not going to adhere those down. I want to make sure of the spacing or placement of them. and so I'm going to end up writing the third one first before I place both the second and the third. All right, so doing underlining for the journaling, always love that. On the third tag, I went straight to the bottom. On the other ones, I left a little bit more space on the bottom because I knew that they were going to get covered. They overlap each other just a little bit. And so here I'm just kind of aligning the bottom tag first so that I can see where the second one should be placed in order to allow the third one to overlap just a little bit. You guys can figure this out when you are working on this on your own in terms of where the spacing is, but they do overlap just a little bit. And the next thing that I did then was I flipped it over, and I'm just using a little bit of Scotch tape to hold those tags together. And this is where, this was the point in the process where I was like, you know what, I'm probably going to do another page on the back, and I should just do it right now, knowing that this would be a good time to do it when I have everything else out. The next thing that I decided to do was add a little bit of ribbon into the sides there. I like how this is similar to a page that I would do for December Daily, but that can just be in my regular album, right? There's a little more construction going into it, but still emphasizing the words and the photos and the story here, and having playfulness. So that's, I love when I can when I have concepts that cover all of those bases as well. So here I am. I'm going to add on a couple tiny attacher staples. This is one of my favorite ways to attach ribbon. It's just a little bit easier than having a bulky tie when you tie the ribbon together. So generally I'll do like 1 or 2 staples. Sometimes I do a cross or X, which is what I'm doing on this one right now. I will link to you the I tried this word before. Anyway, I will link the ribbon, the top and the bottom ribbon, because I have a source for that. The middle ribbon is just one that I've had in my stash forever, and do not have a source for that one, but you probably have some ribbon in your stash that you could add in there. Using my 6-hole punch to punch holes in the photo, and then I do have a chipboard piece. This is from the Open Story Kit, and I'm going to go ahead and use red line tape, which I think I already put on there. Yep, and I'm just adhering it down on the back. Then I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to place it right in my album. That's one of my goals this year, is to simply add them in as I finish them, adhere them back to back, and I think that's what you're going to see in the beginning of the next section of this video before I go in to do my second page for today's video. All right, so as I was thinking about wrapping this particular one up, what I decided to do is find another story that I could tell right now to go on the back of here, because there have been some times in the past where, you know, when I'm working in an album like this, I'm adding things in later. But this year what I kind of want to do, and I think I started off this way last year too, was I just want to be adhering these back to back as I go. So this is the one, I did this one recently, so I'm just going to adhere this down to the project right before that one and just kind of get this going. And then what I'm going to do here is put together one more page in this video so that I'm covering the front and the back there. So first I'll just go ahead and get this one adhered back to back. You can see I've got some to trim on there. Okay, so now I have all of those pages back to back, so everything is where I want it to be. One thing I wanted to say too is that in the past I have, excuse me, and I do still have these set up 6x8 albums for the kids, but the way that I'm working this year in the last few years, it's just made more sense for me to just have an ongoing album that includes stories about the kids, you know, whichever kid it is, and so that's what I'm continuing to do right now. So for this one, what I did is I looked at the photos that I've taken this past week, and one of the photos I took was a photo of the TV when Anna and Simon and I were watching Moonrise Kingdom, which is a favorite movie that we've watched many times before. And so I was thinking, oh, I can tell a story about this. And so one of the recent add-ons that we had for the story kit, or for any subscribers, are these, it's a set of vellum tags. And I went ahead and printed this first on a piece of white cardstock, and then I laid this down and I used washi tape along the sides. It ended up being crooked on here, partly because I didn't have the washi tape on good enough to hold it in the right place, and so it moved around a little bit inside of the printing. But I'm gonna use it anyway, partly because there was only 2 of these in that, actually maybe there was more, but I didn't want to waste it, and I still like it. It's gonna go on top of here with a pocket. So this is a piece of transparency. I'm gonna create a pocket that will probably, I might stitch it on there. I don't have any sewing machine, any thread in there yet, but what I need to do before that though is I need to trim this. And so this is my idea here that I'm gonna do, is trim around here. Obviously it would have been better to do it like before, but I think that I can just kind of hold those down. It's gonna get me close enough in terms of being able to adhere the photo onto the back of this. So working, doing some construction is essentially what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm lining it up here along the side, right? So it's going to be adhered on there in this way. Here what I'm going to do is start there and then also come right here and just make 2 cuts, and then I will trim it with my knife. Okay, so essentially that's going to go right on there. It will cover up the holes on the inside of here, which I'm actually fine with. I probably could have left those on there, but I wouldn't have known that before. I don't need to cut the holes through there though. So before I do that, before I adhere it on there, what I want to do is I want to stitch a pocket on here that this can then go inside of there. So I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and just stitch along the outside edge. The other thing, you guys are going to laugh about this. Well, let's see how many times I can use this here. We'll see. The washi tape is where it's at, people. And I think I just want to do white again, because then it'll kind of show that it is a little pocket here too. So I'm just putting this on the transparency. Cute. And then I'm going to run it through the sewing machine. Okay, so I went ahead and ran that through my sewing machine. And this is going to be able to slip right inside. And so basically, this is a little story. I think I'm going to trim just a little bit off the bottom. This is a little story about watching a movie and watching stuff, just Anna and Simon and I watching movies over the years, and how as I was watching it, I was thinking, you know, this could be one of the last times that Anna and Simon and I watch a movie together for a while since Simon is moving out. So that's kind of the reflections that I'm talking about on here. And I love, again, the idea of using a photo as a background, right? I could have used pattern paper for this, but because I had a photo, it can easily just become the home for my story, which is obviously on top of this tag. I also saw this guy right here, which is from the January Stories by the Month kit, and I'm pretty sure that guy is just gonna sit right there because it's great for, it's a January moment, right? So I've got the red stitching because I knew I was gonna use that. I looked over here on my desk, saw that there, so now I'm going to adhere this down using red line tape. And then we're going to adhere this to the back of that. Okay, a couple of things here. One is I might have screwed up a little bit with my stitching because I do need to trim some of this off. So let's just kind of see, let's see what happens. I'm gonna do a big piece of red line tape down this side over here. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do still is trim these little pieces off, I think. Maybe. Whoops, I cut some of the, I didn't want to do that. I think I'll do that. I think I'll just leave that rather than taking out the little pieces. No, I think I'm gonna do it. Risky, it's risky. Oh yeah, that's okay. And this one too. Okay, awesome. And then I just need a little bit of ribbon for this guy. Another thing I did think about was, like, it's the three of us. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. This will be fun. This is just adding a little bit of something on here in the background. Then I can tie that all together. I'm gonna pull out this red ribbon since I still have that. All right, fun. I think that's fun. A little bit something different, a little bit of a switch up. Cute, cute, cute. Love using my stash. Love having 2 pages. 2 more stories told. All right, I decided to add one other thing onto my pocket. This is using the Posca paint pen. I just hand drew that on there, and then I used my heat gun a little bit to set it. Here was my tester. So those do dry on there. That's where I touched it right after I wrote it, just to see what would happen. And then this is after I used my heat gun on top of it. So that one's gonna end up probably in that space too. So just a little bit of something else on there. And that's a wrap for today. So we'll see you guys back here for another video soon.